we could finish the swamp, like, in this episode. Like, yeah, right now. It's close. It's close to finish. If you don't know, we've been building a swamp for a while now here on the SMP, and well, it's been a whole process, but we have most of it finished. You can see that this area right here is looking pretty nice, but there's a couple areas left to do, and those are basically just this area and that area over there. Now both of these are pretty big. They're one of the like two biggest islands in the swamp probably. But this one specifically should be pretty easy. We only have to do like a little bit of grass and texturing work around the edges and like kind of a little bit more stuff in the middle of it. But it shouldn't be very complicated. We should be able to do it pretty quickly. It's this other island that I'm a little bit more concerned about. This one has a lot of parrots on it. If you don't know, we're using the gray parrots to kind of decorate the trees and kind of look like birds. Because I mean they're birds, you know, kind of works out like that. But we have all the other colors of parrots as well, because like if you get one parrot, you're probably just gonna acquire the other colors. And yeah, I don't know what to do with any of these guys. There's so many, and it's like gonna take up a lot of space no matter where I put it. I just don't have a good idea of where that should be. But these gray parrots shouldn't be too much of a problem. We can get them up in the trees pretty easily. I do have to worry about setting off skulk sensors whenever I'm walking on the trees now, so that's a little bit of an issue. But for the most part, it should be fine. We're gonna go ahead and start working over here, I think, because this is us ignoring our problems and just doing what's easy first. I think that's a good place to start, and we'll get this done. Okay, I did the like texturing, the mud, you know, that kind of stuff. Like I did that. I didn't do the foliage yet. We still gotta do that. But what I've done, you can probably kind of see, is a little bit of like a transition between the mud to soil to coarse dirt to grass, and I think that just improves the coastline quite a bit. We also added a little bit of coarse dirt underneath some of these trees, because grass doesn't really grow very well under the trees. But you'll see that this is actually quite a bit of grass that I left on this hill. That was intentional. If we go over to this other area that we finished, there's not nearly as much grass dotted around here. So if we look from a top-down view, so you don't really see the tall grass as much, you can see that there is grass in patches, but there's really just not very much of it. And that was intentional. If you kind of look at the islands from the side, you can see that they're very different shape. This one's very flat. It only has one block of height to it. And because of that, I thought it'd be pretty muddy. It wouldn't have very much grass growing on it. It'd just kind of be covered up in water once the high tide came or something like that. But if we go over to this island, this one has a lot more grass because it's a hill. It's a lot higher up above the water. And it's also our furthest island from the sea, so I just figured it would also be kind of the driest, at least as far as the tides go. So we have kind of a pretty nice, I think, starting layer to go from here. We still need to add foliage and parrots and frogs and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think it should look good. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. It shouldn't take too long. And it should add quite a bit to the build. So let me grab my stuff and we'll get started. I ran out of leaf litter. We're not done. I actually have quite a bit more to do on this island. We need the parrots and the frogs and stuff still. I tried to do as much grass and bushes and stuff as I could, but in the areas where we don't have our leaf litter down yet, it'll still need some work in that department as well. We ended up getting some crocodiles and stuff done, which I wasn't originally planning on doing, but there's kind of just a couple spots where I saw that it would look really good to have a crocodiles and like kind of in that area. And yeah, I kind of decided to do that. And I think it looks good, so I'm leaving it as is probably. But we have, yeah, leaf litter that we need to do, so we're gonna have to take a break from building in the swamp for a moment anyways, so I think it's a good time to move our parrots somewhere. I don't really know where. I don't have a permanent solution on where to put my parrots, but I have a kind of rough idea. I've been putting a lot of my mobs over in this area, and I think we could, at least for a little bit, put them around here somewhere. I think that'll work fine, at least for a little bit. We need to figure out something more permanent though. It'll work. So I'm gonna move the parrots. I'm gonna probably collect some leaves for leaf litter, and then we'll kind of come back to the swamp, probably finish all this up, and yeah, we'll move on to this next section pretty soon. We moved all the parrots. They're all gone. Yeah, except those guys. Those guys can stay though, because we're about to use them up here on all the trees. At least most of them. We might actually have a couple spare, in which case we'll just stick them with the rest of the parrots. But we also finished the whole area back here. We got the birds in the trees. We got the frogs hopping around. Their pathfinding is a little weird sometimes, so I've had a few get stuck in trees and stuff, which I think is funny, but yeah, there's not really anything I can do to change or fix that. We also got all the leaf litter and grass and stuff finished, that last little area of detail that we needed to do and everything. So it's time to move on to the next section. There is one other thing that we'll need to eventually do in this area, and that's to light it up, but I'm kind of running low on time, so I figure if we're going to finish the swamp, at least like a state of visually finished, yeah, we need to go ahead and move on. The first step here is going to be the parrots, which was the last step over there, but we need these guys out of the way, so we're going to add in the parrots first. I'm going to have to move the frogs somewhere, probably over near the parrots, and then we'll be able to actually kind of like start on this area, but it shouldn't take too long to do that, and then we can kind of actually work on this area, which is going to be a little bit different. You can see there's not as many trees and stuff over here, but it should be interesting, so let's get started. Okay, we moved all the birds into the trees, or over next to our other birds, and we moved the frogs over there too. So we are ready to get started on this big final grassy area, and it is very big and very grassy. That's the first thing we need to change. Not the big part, but the grassy part. We need to add some texturing to this and make it another unique area of the swamp. If you remember, I was talking about over here in this area that we just did. We did something unique with the texturing on that island compared to this island over there, and we did something unique on that island compared to this island over here. And I want to do something unique once again on this island, incorporating elements, of course, from other islands that are kind of similar and kind of making it sort of its own unique thing. So it should be fun, should be unique, interesting, all the things. Let's get started on this. I should have pretty much everything I need except coarse dirt. We're going to probably run out of this, so I'll have to craft a little bit more. But we should have all the resources to do that. Let's go ahead and just get started. I'm on a mule because of all the soil. It kind of messes with the FOV and stuff while I run over it, so mule prevents that from happening, just for your viewing convenience. But we're almost done with the swamp. It's I didn't quite realize that, like, we just have the detail work to do, and then this area's done. There's nothing more that we need to do after that point, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, I thought there'd be a little bit more that I needed to do or something. I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. What we did was kind of add in elements from other parts of the swamp, like I said. So if you remember, there's kind of like a river delta with mud and dried up river areas and stuff over there. What we did here was kind of add an old route where the river once was, and now it's kind of dried up and moved around a different way. And we have little pockets of water, which are kind of similar to the ones over on that island over there. And they kind of added to this area too, so we'll be able to add kind of like more details and stuff growing around these little ponds, which is going to be really interesting, but of course they're not there yet. So we need to kind of add all that stuff in, and to do that, I think first we're going to work on crocodiles. Crocodiles are kind of another like little point of like judging distance and stuff that I kind of need, so that we can actually like get all the grass and stuff in places. So we'll do the crocodiles first, and then the foliage, and then we're done, which is kind of cool. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Well, I think this is it. We finished all the little detail work, and I think the swamp is done. I mean, I guess we do have a little bit of like lighting we could add and stuff, but I'm doing that in between episodes because it's kind of boring. So yeah, I think for all intents and purposes, this is the swamp finished. I don't know really what to do now. I mean, we of course do have some future projects and stuff, but like, I don't know, it kind of just feels weird. So what we did here was add some firefly bushes, some of which are underground, which is why we have particle effects during the day. We added small drip leaf, some seagrass, some regular grass, some tall grass, some bushes, and some lily pads. And that's pretty much all we added, just kind of dotted around in these places, and it works, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much it. yeah, I really don't know what to do now. We'll probably end the episode here, but yeah, I guess the next episode will probably be an overview of the entire swamp, kind of like going through, talking about what all I did and why I did it, kind of some of the design process and all that. But after that, we'll have to move on to our next projects, which are going to be fun. I do have a couple things planned, but I don't really know how to start them. It's kind of weird. All right, yeah, we should end the episode here. Thank you guys all for watching. God bless.